the LDL, finished split number 1 in first place, like managing to look really good. Played Twitch in the upper bracket finals of the LDL, by the way. So an exciting prospect, but there's always that question of, okay, it's a new player. Like, how well are they going to play with the team? How well are they going to be able to function when it comes to the big leagues? So far, so good.
Yeah, so far so good, and looking like a well-oiled machine. And it has to be mentioned because we've not really changed how the game is likely to be played. Moving from 13-8 to 13, being all on the same page, being well coordinated in team fights is gonna be what makes and breaks a lot of teams here in the LPL, right? We always talk about the LPL as a region being filled with teams who are always very, very strong team fighters. With the meta and the game the way it is, how it's being played at the moment, that's going to be taken to another level. And so far, AL have a pretty good track record of their one game showing here against Ultra Prime.
Yeah. I mean, AL, 100% win rate this split so far. Man. Fantastic stuff coming out from them. I will say, looking at this draft, Aphelios first pick. AL literally just saying to Ultra Prime, you can have your Cogmore. We don't care. We're not bothered about the Cogmore. Lulu available as well. Like, this could have been a Cogmore Lulu rotation for Ultra Prime. Then I suppose the Cogmore's not going to be contested. So going for the Lulu alongside that Vi for Nick.
But I like this a lot better from Ultra Prime from the get-go, because now they have confirmed lockdown, right? With the VIR, you always know one target is going to be held in place for at least 1 extra second or 2 extra seconds, right? Make things really awkward in terms of disrupting the backline. It's now Ultra Prime. It should be pretty set in stone. They will likely go towards this Cogmore again. But now they have locked down 4 other team fighting tools to come in from the solo lanes, right? And that's what that's going to be about now for Ultra Prime rounding out their draft. For anyone's legend, however, going towards this Cassante early on does make me wonder whether or not they're going to sacrifice the jungle pool or the support pool, right? Because you want to try and have an enchanter into an enchanter matchup. It seems like they will sacrifice the jungle pool for now as they go towards the Karma, which is something that I suppose I haven't thought about so much in the grand scheme of things, but with the way some of the support items have changed, things like Helia coming in, we could see a little bit more of it just because it can definitely work with some of these new support items a lot easier in this new patch.
Yeah, could be support. I assume support, but there is a small argument for solo lane Karma, right? We've seen it a lot in the past. To be honest, I feel I've seen a lot more solo lane Karma over the last couple of years than I have support Karma outside of Karma Ezreal. So curious to see where that goes. I would assume bot lane, though, with the Wukong banned away now by Ultra Prime. And we'll see what anyone's legend want to focus out here. The bot lane's locked in. Perhaps mid laners, or in fact, I guess they're looking towards top lane. They also know that Harry likes a carry.
Yeah, I think this also just says to me that ZDZ is likely just going towards that Gragas or the Sion again, right? And they don't really want to have to deal with Gwen into one of those tank matchups. And now speaking with a couple of players over the last couple of days and just asking, hey, what has changed in the meta, right? A couple of pro players. What has changed in the meta from 13-8 to 13-10? The resounding answer was generally when it came to the top side of the map, that tanks were in, and it was just tanks plus Gwen and the occasional Jace. That was pretty much it. So with Jace and Gwen now banned, expect to see ZDZ sit pretty comfortably on the top side as they also remove away Harry's Rumble, which was definitely causing them a whole bunch of issues in the team fights in the early stages in particular.
Yeah, it certainly was. Even though Harry didn't win the game with the Rumble, he still had an individually great performance. The Nico is locked in. You assume for Forge here in the mid lane. There are 2 different builds as well. There's an AP build and an AD build. They changed the way the passive works so you can become a minion now. This is... I'm so ready for this game.
Oh man, I'm ready for the shenanigans. Not only do we get the first Milio on a major region, we're also going to get the Nico here in game number 2. Eyeing up the Kha'Zix on the opposite side now with the Syndra locked in already. It could make for a very, very strong 2v2 at level 6 in particular. Isolating a target, blowing them up really is their choice. However, I feel like in a game like this, when you're dealing with Lulu, Vi, something like Kha'Zix, bit of a hard sell. Maybe they go towards something like Viego or Lee Sin. I think it's a little bit more safe, a little more staple. And that's exactly what they'll do. So the level 6, still very powerful in terms of skirmishing for anyone's legend. And they know exactly what they're signing up for. It will be Nico in the mid lane if the first hover is to be believed from Ultra Prime. And we'll see exactly what Harry wants to do into this Cassante. Because, you can just kind of match tank for tank. That would be very much 13-8. But Harry, like you said, right, likes to lean on more carry-esque oriented picks. This is a nice middle ground though, isn't it? A little bit of front line, a little bit of strong side laning prowess of the Nart. Definitely a decent direction individually for Harry to go, and definitely for the team composition as a whole.
Yeah, certainly going to be good setup, right? It's something Harry's played a lot in the past too, so we'll have to see how this new composition is going to work out for Ultra Prime. One thing I will say, look at this wombo combo. Like Gnar ultimate into Nico ultimate with the rocket on top. Sword Art can use his wild growth on Ning or Harry. Like, if everyone from AL groups up at the wrong time, like the fight will end in a split second. It will just be over. However, the coordination from Ultra Prime in game number 1, we didn't necessarily see everything we wanted. So let's see if this is a composition they can pull off. They do need to do it together to pull it off. Pinzy as well on the Syndra, a bit of a lane bully. Up against Nico, a bit of a lane bully. I'm excited to see how that one's going to pan out.
Yeah, the like you said, the coordination did leave a lot to be desired, but I think you mentioned the mid lane matchup. I think mid jungle definitely going to be quite crucial to how the early game plays out here. I think, you know, you're playing a sort of a air quotes new champion to the meta at the very least, definitely very new. You need to try and get the ball rolling just so you feel good about it, right? Just so we can also get a bit of a gauge for what it can do with the new changes. We'll speak about them as we get into game, but we know what Syndra and Viego does. It blows up a target and it does it pretty damn quickly. We'll see how easy it will be for anyone's legend to use a pretty tried and tested mid-jungle matchup.
So if they can pull it off, I'm ready for it. I am absolutely ready for this. I want to see more from both teams. I also want to see a little bit more early scrapping. I feel like it was a fairly slow early game. There was a lot of posturing. There was a lot of like little skirmishes that didn't lead to anything in the end. But anyone's legend, the early game from Xiaohao, absolutely magnificent. Flashing over the Baron Pit wall to go for an invade as soon as he spotted Ning on a wall on the other side. Like, really great stuff. I'm curious to see a similar performance in the early game from anyone's legend. I'm looking at Xiaohao in this early game.
You know, 100% Ultra Prime are going to ward that part, that potential. I'm calling it right now. The coaches are in the back room. Make sure you ward that Psycho Flash path, because you know Xiaohao might do it again. We'll see whether or not some level 1 shenanigans end up occurring or not. We're still on player cams, so I wonder if we have an early pause. Don't want to curse it. It's only day 1. Normally we do go in. Ah, never mind.
Here we
Just
go.
a long intro in as we're in for game 2, Joe.
I've got a Merc on my screen. That's a good sign. That means we're going to game number 2. Anyone's legend straight off the bat, going for it. Okay, we're already in the... Wow, I don't know what's happening.
Hello.
Ning taking a good chunk. Xiaohao forced away as ZDZ arrives. I don't even know who got the Raptors. I'm pretty sure it was Ning.
Yeah, Ning got half of it because he's got 2 CS. And with the 0 CS of Xiaohao, I don't think the invade went the way they wanted it to go. That's about the extent of my knowledge of how that invade went.
Yeah.
As, yeah.
Do you know,
Good stuff. Good early stuff.
listening to the Gyos and like looking at the fans in the crowd, I feel like Ultra Prime, even though they literally finished 17th last split, still have a lot of fans.
Still have
Because you got Ning on the roster. I saw a sign for Xiaobai, who's their coach, like previously an LPL player. So someone's out there repping Xiaobai, like Sword Art Doggo. I feel like there's a lot to love on this roster, even if the coordination didn't look that good in game number 1. As just taking a bit of a chunk. And I love that both bot lanes now going cool for game number 2. Heavy trading in the mid lane. Jamada, talk me through this mid lane matchup just a little bit. Like, Syndra versus Nico. Like, both very aggressive, very bully-heavy mid laners.
Yeah, definitely both very bully-heavy laners. Now, it's been a while since I've seen Syndra and Nico, so forgive me if my knowledge for any connoisseurs, I suppose, out there is a little dated, but if I recall correctly, the laning phase in the early stages can be a little bit rough for Syndra because I think the Q can kind of, to a point, outrange and be a lot more irritating to deal with in comparison to Syndra's own poke and Qs. But once the level 6 comes in, that's where things get a little bit irritating, because if you're Nico, even if you find the route onto Pinzy into Syndra, right, you then have to flash the scat of the week. Otherwise, if you're casting your R, you're just gonna nothing, right? So all-ins 1-to-1 feel a little bit difficult to pull off. Xiaohao is waiting in the wings and wants to interrupt the flow of this mid lane 1v1. The scat connects.
The stun is good. He dodges away from the root as well.
The
slows there from the red buff. Don't think he'll go for flash. There it is. Yeah. Forces flash for flash, as you say. But Forge will survive.
Yeah, Forge will survive. Still definitely winning out on the early stages of this laning phase, however. And I expect that trend, I suppose, to continue. It's only really when level 6 comes in where things feel a little bit difficult. Oh, Tangle Barb's very, very close to connecting. But junglers
see.
can smell the blood in the water, man. They're all here.
Ning wanted to go for something there. He's going to have to go back to his chicken. Xiaohao, who's very aware of that first chicken spawn when he was on the red side, wants to go over the chickens on that first spawn once again. Ning trying to perhaps go for an invade. No, sees the crab's gone and decides to return to his own side.
Okay, doesn't want anything to do with it. But now Flash blown for Forge, so there is definitely some room for Xiaohao to find another return gank in the coming minutes. Especially once level 6 comes in, it's really easy to find setup from the side of Pinzi. Just press your R and press E, and it's really difficult for Forge to get away from. So that's something that Ultra Prime now going to have to be very, very concerned about, and also shore up some defenses around the mid lane, right? Vision constantly keeping Ning relatively close to the lane as well.
So we've got to look at that bottom lane as well, because yes, it kind of a bot lane from MSI, sans the Karma, obviously, but the difference is, at MSI, we saw tons and tons of mid laners roaming down to the bottom lane. We basically saw like 4v4 bottom lanes in a lot of games. A lot of dives coming on through. That's much more difficult to pull off now, because the mid lane wave will arrive at the same time as the bottom lane instead of earlier. So it means that it's much harder for a mid laner to move down without either A, teleporting, which you can now do at 10 minutes, or B, sacrificing waves, sacrificing tower plate. So keep your eyes on that, not just today, but over the next couple of weeks of how teams develop their strategies around the way that the waves would now work.
Yeah, exactly. I'm really curious to see what exactly happens and what develops from that matter, right? Because I feel like for so long, roaming from the mid lane has been such a crucial, facet to the game. But now that it should theoretically be a lot tougher, I do wonder whether or not it will eventually also push us towards more scaly mid laners as well. No pun intended, because there's Nico in the mid lane. Anyway, that was a new level pun.
Yeah, I guess she does. She's kind of a lizard, right? Here we go behind enemy lines, but Forge slightly shy on his ultimate. Gets a great tangle bombs though. Who needs your ultimate when you've got Qs like that? Zora, next target for Doggo as he tries to finish the job off. Zap should be available any second now. Goes wide though. Zora keeps himself alive. Ooh. Only just, but he gets away with the skin of his teeth.
Yeah, he does, but Ultra Prime still walk away with the first kill of the game, and it goes into the Nico's back pocket. Pinzi will probably claim at least one plate here for the roam, but still, Forge makes the most of it, gets the kill. The Dragon doesn't go over, however, to Ultra Prime, so that's still going to feel a little bit sad, but they blow a lot of crucial summoner spells, and they hold on to Doggo's flash at the end of the exchange.
So Forge sneaking on through, pretending to be the jungler, despite the fact they can see Nick. But a great little double route there.
Yeah, and Chompers as well, on top of it, just make it difficult to walk away from. Impossible if you are offenders, unfortunately. Zora able to escape, like you say, skin of his teeth. Q doesn't connect. Tangle Barbs also empowered W there. Yeah, just great footwork. And at the end of the day, just because of the way that resets had to come out and anyone's legend returning to the map sooner, they will pick up this first dragon.
And I do want to return to the conversation we had just a minute ago before the dragon all kicked off in the timing of the waves, because it's not just going to change rotating to bottom lane like we talked about, but it's also going to change how you fight for priority for Drake, right? When you think of like the last, I don't know, forever in League of Legends, it's been fight for mid lane priority, transition to Drake as a team. Maybe send a top laner to bottom lane to try and get that prio, but it comes after. That's like the second priority after mid lane. That's going to have to change, where with mid lane arriving at the same time, you can't just prioritize mid lane for prio in the same way versus bot lane, if that makes sense. Trying to say prioritize this many times in a sentence, I've confused myself, but I think it made sense.
Yeah, no, it did. And, like I kind of posed the question of earlier, right? Do we move towards these mid laners which are a little closer to hyperscalers? Do we maybe move towards global mids, right? Things like Twisted Fate, Galio, Rise, things that can cheat the tempo and kind of subvert some of those issues of maybe missing some waves around roams. Hard to know, hard to say. We're getting picture-in-picture of Ning doing a skull grab. I'm sure there's some context there that we
nice. Well played, Ning. Well played. That is some clean scuttle crabbing, if I do say so myself.
It's the most coordinated I've seen Ning all day so far.
Oh no. Oh no. Coordinated with himself. Yes. We've got ZDZ trying to contest the big scuttle crab up in the top side. But we'll have to walk away for now. And you can see Xiaohao's like, you know what? You can have Herald. I don't care about Herald. I'm taking your blue buff. I'm taking your Gromp. I'm taking your whole bot side. And potentially diving. There is a cannon underneath that could push for the next wave to go under. Don't know how confident they are to go for a dive, but Xiaohao is level 6.
Xiaohao's level 6. He does have priority and is going to start to move down now as well, but I just wonder about the wave positioning and whether or not it's going to be a little bit too fresh. But the pressure alone of just moving into fog is enough. You can see Ultra Prime just have to respect this, right? You don't know where the Syndra is. Syndra could be waiting in that Tri-Brush right now, for all they know. They will slowly start to reapproach as the rest of Anyone's Legend back away.
Yeah.
Minions missed, plate picked up. Objective accomplished still for Anyone's Legend.
I mean, not just one plate. Like they've got 3 plates 9 minutes in without a Herald. This is a dominant bottom lane, and this is you're basically witnessing what Karma brings to the table versus the other enchanters. The other enchanters mostly about making your AD carry stronger, whereas Karma will defend your AD carry a bit, but will give you massive poke, massive wave clear in that bottom side. So a lot of early priority by just locking that Karma in. And great presence, like you say, from Xiaohao to set up for those plays. Herald now comes down. Ning has just taken the Herald, made a beeline straight to the bottom lane to punish these resets.
Yeah, punish the resets. We'll get 2 plates as well. So extra little bit of gold for both Sword Art and Doggo will feel at the very least a little bit nice, given how much CS they had to miss on the bottom side of the map as Forge. Oh yeah. Oh yes.
Let's go.
Yes. Which one's the fake one?
That one. We found it. Kinsey is not having any of it. Not having any of it.
The best part was he did it in vision as well.
Yeah, Forge just like literally reading champion abilities mid-game here. He's like, what is this? What does Nico
He's
do?
like, wait a minute, I can turn into a mid. All right, round 2. Round 2.
He's done it on awards. I mean, like, what wave ever stacks like this? He's running around. Well, I love new Nico. I don't care if it's good. I'm enjoying it. That's the main thing. But the damage shots have been seen there from Forge, who is just having a whale of a time. You love to see it. Drake coming up, though, in a minute's time. AL were the first one to get it, so this could be 2 for them. Zora fighting for vision control already.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm sorry, I had to recover from that one, to be honest. All right, vision control being taken here by Anyone's Legend, and that's a really nice trifecta of wards, actually. So all they really need is mid lane prio, move into fog, and then just try and bait Ultra Prime in, right, to the side, see if they can actually find the pick. They actually maybe want Pinzi, but they don't know!
It's a bit of a whiffed combo, but the root is there. The Tangle Bombs, the rocket comes in. That's gorgeous. Despite Ning not getting the Q, it does not matter. Ning will be answered for, though. Xiaohao is there. And with a jungler down, that's not that great for the side of Ultra Prime.
It doesn't feel great at all. Jungler dead means that, realistically, I think Anyone's Legend should be able to just secure this dragon for free. ZDZ is just trying to eye up, potentially, and pull out. Angle not going to be able to find it.
No, he is not. Not at all. Here we go. Trying to go for the all-in on the side. Doggo in trouble underneath the tower. Are they going to keep going? Moonlight Vigil, not enough. But I love this aggression. Brand new player stepping in from the LDL. He was trained up. Royal Starhorn Royal Club. I can't remember what their LDL team is called. It's not Starhorn. It's definitely not Starhorn, but it is a Royal Club. He was trained up. He won split 1 of the LDL and now showing off in the LPL. 4 plates taken.
Feels really good, and you want to see that confidence out of a rookie, out of a new player onto the LPL stage. And Ning, again, you know, Skull Crab, close coordinate, likely, but the rocket comes in, still connects onto Pinzi, and the damage is enough to take him down, but because he's had to commit so far forward for the kill, just means that he has to go down for it. As he goes in, he's never making it back out. Second dragon secured again, but Anyone's Legend, dragon control. Early stage has definitely been what they've put their priority on, and so far, paid off in game number 1. We'll see if it pays off again in game number 2 as it's the Hex Tech Soul this time around, and that's definitely a lot stronger.
Just having a whale of a time, man.
Yeah, definitely a lot stronger for snowballing. Oh man, he's on vision again, Joe. It's at what point will he get to do it? When will he get to do it and not be on vision? That's like
that's a great question. It's a great question.
It's gonna happen at least once, right? It's gonna catch off a pro player at least once this game.
I mean, I just love that Forge, like, every time he does it, immediately like joins the wave like, yes, I am a minion. They'll believe me this time. You know, like nothing has changed, but this time it will work.
I think, honestly, I think the tech is to turn into a caster and be the last minion in. Or be like the third minion. That way it's a little bit sense.
Oh, don't he uses Proto Belt there. Oh yeah, sorry, Rocket Belt. That's a change from literally years ago. This still hasn't sunk into my brain. I feel like it's the changes like that where it's like, why did they change today? The item didn't change that dramatically. Like that aspect of the item at least didn't really change. So yeah. I don't know. Like when they changed the item dramatically, then I get the name changes. But I feel like Proto Belt was a cool name. Proto Belt.
Maybe it's, you know, because prototype, and then, you know, it stayed in the game long enough so it got to earn the title Rocket Belt, you know.
I thought of it as like, I don't know, prototype or something, you know, something sciencey. I didn't really think of it as like an actual, most of it's like hex tech and stuff, right? So yeah, I just assume they're making up words.
Yeah. Does sound like a lot of science sometimes if you're, I don't know, just not so scientifically inclined. Knowledge side, it just sounds weird, doesn't it? It just sounds like made up words every single time.
Was that a low-key roast? Yeah, I guess if you're not science inclined, you can think they were making up words. Here we go, Wild Growth to start off the combo. Chow trying to get out with his life. He flashes out, the auto isn't enough. And Pinsy turns gold, keeps himself going, but the zap from Doggo is pinpoint perfect. Now Forge moving forwards, no ultimate available for him. Is Harry to turn Mega. All out, won't quite pull him over the wall. Ultra Prime, they found themselves a fight. They found themselves a Herald by the looks of things.
Yeah, but they got the last two Heralds in the previous game as well, and didn't really amount to much, so the usage has to be really, really good here from the Ultra Prime side, in my opinion, to give me a little bit of confidence back in. The game state, you know, by gold is even, and, you know, you mentioned in the previous game the scaling of how those comps worked. This game, I feel like Ultra Prime, in theory, have the easier to execute team composition, right? You've got pretty solid and consistent engage from the Vi. You've got an Enchanter with a Jinx. The front to back is definitely very, very, you know, easy to play out, just because you've also got the Gnar as well for additional front line. And Forge can, you know, Forge can do whatever he wants, I guess. You know, if he wants to play Peel for any divers, he can. If he wants to go and try and dive Chichoye, he can as well. So it's really up to him. And I feel like Anyone's Legend, maybe a little more nuanced, right? Because again, the engage options are slightly, you know, more micro-intensive in terms of CDZ having to find a flank, and Chow Hao was having to kind of just put his body on the line to try and get a fight started up with CC coming in from Pinsy.
Doggo will not let Zora recall. And crucially, Drake's coming up in 45 seconds. Your support not being able to recall, not being able to set up vision for that objective is a big deal.
Yeah, it definitely is. Nice sidestep here from Doggo, though, in this replay. Stop himself from being stunned up. Ultimate doesn't quite connect from Forge. Chow Hao walks it out eventually. Ning, however, does not get that same luxury. Really well placed that, and the Herald doesn't quite get leashed to dodge it. Or to block it, rather.
Nice little bit of play coming out from Ultra Prime. They've got themselves a lead. They are 2 Drakes down, though, and I feel like this is a similar spot to where we were in the previous game, where the gold is reasonably even. I think AL were a little bit further ahead in gold last time, but having those Drakes as well for AL seems like the win condition for them. Trying to get the Herald off, and they will be able to do so, but won't be able to finish the tower. Gets the priority. Forge over the wall, does find a combo, but chased down by the rest of the squad. Forge using his ultimate just defensively, but he will not walk away. What a combo coming out from the Aphelios on the side of AL.
And Pinsy also just catching him off guard with that Scat of the Week was so good. And now Ultra Prime. No mid laner. Third Dragon goes over to Anyone's Legend, and even though they didn't have the mid lane priority, they didn't really have any vision setup or strong vision setup, able to secure the third Dragon of the game. And again, just continuing this dominance around these neutrals. That rocket is about a century late on that still. Not quite expecting as much burst damage perhaps onto that objective as what ended up coming out. And Forge, you know, cosplaying as a Vi, and then gets stunned up, knocked back, knocked to the side. And then the Aphelios murders him on Pinsy pressing his Archy. So Forge really had no way of escaping
Really, really
that
great
one,
scat of the
once
week
that
there.
first CC came in.
Pinsy, right? Like, as soon as they go over the wall to try and lock him up, Pinsy, max range scat of the week to follow up on that CC. Really, really nice stuff. And this is the thing. This is what we've been talking about with Anyone's Legend. The coordination is there. Like, when it comes to these scraps, they are absolutely on the same page. And perhaps this is the split where maybe they can change their fortunes. Maybe they can go back to fighting for playoffs like they were in 2022.
Yeah, definitely could be. It's only a 1 series sample size, you know? So I don't want to get overhyped. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna fulfill Orcs' role from summer 2022 where he was, he's dressing up as a panda. I'm not gonna do that. But what I'm saying is that Anyone's Legend definitely look a lot stronger from this 1 series sample size than they did throughout pretty much the entirety of spring. So much more coordination in tow for this side right now.
Yeah, I will say, Juchoya looking pretty good. Zora doing a good job in the 2v2 as well. Like, the new bottom lane, I'm fairly impressed so far. Like you say, it's a very small sample pool, but off of first impressions, I'm pleased with what we're seeing here from Anyone's Legend. I hope we can keep it up. But Ultra Prime not done just yet. Oh, the minion nearly works out. Forge. 15th time is the charm. As he tries to find the route. Won't quite get it though. Good little dodge coming out from Juchoya. ZDZ now, trying to fight for vision control. Drake is not up for another 3 minutes. I'm not sure why we're all fighting for bottom river.
Funny, isn't it? One thing actually, you got some downtime. I don't know. Why did they buff Gale Force's cooldown? Why did they lower it again? Can we talk about that for a second? I'm just saying, now
technically it's not as good early game.
Oh bloody hell!
It's a scaling item now. It's a scaling item.
True. Yeah, no, I think it's good for AD carries to have a button press dash for free. That
it's not
also
for free.
You know what?
It's for over 2,000 gold coins. That's not free at all.
Oh.
Do you have 2,000 gold coins, Jamada? I don't think so.
No, I don't. Actually, I've been playing a lot of Mario recently. I might have 2,000. But I will say, I will give them credit on the Gale Force, right? They did finally change the active damage to be physical. But I think it, no, I know it does more damage, like optimally at the execute. So, they giveth and they taketh with both hands. It does feel, I'm sure we'll move out of the AD carry meta soon, is what I'm trying to say. Because I'm the CEO of AD carry 8.
I'm not sure we're moving out of the AD carry meta anytime soon, mate. I don't think we're moving out of it this year. I think this is going to be what Worlds looks like, based on what we're seeing in the patches.
Yeah. Victorious Jinx? Anyone? Any churros?
I mean, I'm down for that. I'm a Jinx player. I'm on board.
Yeah. I wonder why you're on board. Yeah.
Here we go.
Enjoying
Forge
this year.
Becomes a minion once more. Can he pull it off this time? He's dodging. The minion just casually sidestepping everything. It's not that persuasive. Doggo, half of his health gone. Tower now falls. The Moonlight Vigil's in. That's a Wild Growth force. Forge buying space for his team, but it's not quite enough. Ning toys with the idea of going back in, but I don't think that's doable. Why are we A-ramming, by the way?
Fun. Hey, Harry has a hole breaker. Who cares? Come to the mid lane. It's a party over here, guys. Teleport over. I mean, to be fair, he did think a fight was breaking out, so I guess he actually has an excuse to be here. The rest of the team, however, it's just tragic stuff. I never knew we was North America all of a sudden. But mid lane tower was collected by AL, so it works out.
Harry tries to pull him in. There is no damage from a Gnar and a Lulu, so he just kind of chills.
He also dashed down because Gale Force again, which I'm here to reiterate the hate I've got for the item. But it is a cooldown that's now going to be down for this dragon fight, right? So now we'll have to actually blow the flash if he does get caught out again like that. I think very brief, quick item check-in. Doggo, 2 items, other side, 2.5 for Cho here. So Aphelios also very much online. Ultra Prime, however, have first move in the river, right? So that does mean Anyone's Legend having to check in. It could be a little bit scary into Nico, maybe into a Gnar. He can build up that rage bar.
Looks like Ultra Prime will be able to just get this Drake. They managed to find enough presence in that mid lane to force him away. ZVZ, not done with the idea just yet though. His Forge just rocket belts away. I got the name right this time. Keeps himself safe. Anyone's Legend moving up towards the Baron pit. We're keeping our eyes on Chichoyi. He's the guy to watch. He's the guy with the 2.5 items that you mentioned before. Harry gets stunned up by Pinzi. There's some good damage there. Pinzi forced away by the rocket of Doggo, and a great little ult from Harry as well. The combo is there, but can they finish the kills? Ult out from Xiao Hao. They finally get one onto ZDZ. Zora the next target, and he won't be able to escape. Double kill comes through for Doggo, and perhaps a Baron on top.
Yeah, just one brief misstep. Almost everybody on anyone's legend dies, and that Ultra Prime should be able to get the Baron. They also stopped the Soul from spawning in, and is this just a repeat of game number 1 or what? 3 dragons to anyone's legend. Ultra Prime steal away the 4th. The Baron is going to be picked up, but this time all members are going to be walking back to base with the buff, and it starts off with this attempted pick onto Harry, who admittedly is definitely stepped a little bit far forward, but with the Hull Breaker resist, level 15 with Mega Knight just not tanky enough. That knockback into the ultimate as well, and Forge is just absolutely massive to split apart the fight. And anyone's legend can't be coordinated if they're being split apart and dissected like that. And Doggo able to just open up for free onto the members in front of him.
You can see Happy on the coaching staff there. You can see Happy on the coaching staff there. What a great sentence, really. You
can see Happy
well constructed
on the faces
of the coaching staff. Yeah. Welcome to English Lessons with Jamada and Munchables. I can't speak good English. I actually tried to say that one wrong, and I got it right by accident. I was trying to say I can't speak English good, but I guess I can. I guess I can.
That's also correct.
No, it's not.
It is. I can't speak English.
I can speak English good.
Well,
is not correct.
I guess you're supposed to say I can't speak English well, right?
Yeah. So good is not correct, like I said. Just because people say it doesn't make it correct.
Okay.
Here we go.
I guess.
Siege in the mid lane. Harry's in Magadar. I don't think they're going to actually go pretty good here. I think this is a slow play.
Yeah, I think so too. Just slow burn with this and minion. I wonder if Forge is fine. I wonder if Forge can come in as a Baron off minion. Just sneak in with the wave. Cause some mayhem. Won't be doing that, but that tier 2 in the mid lane will drop. Potentially just rotation down to Ultra Prime to the bottom side. Fouls them at the very least, but maybe wanted to split up the Baron buff as Forge just off screen was a cannon minion. Harry might just make short work of this tower by himself. Just going to do that. Very, very easy.
That's the Hull Breaker coming in. I mean, Hull Breaker plus Baron, like, on Gnar, you're very happy in mini Gnar to just siege away.
I guess very briefly as well, hopefully we don't get any action. One of the few things that was changed, Triforce got a bunch of stat buffs. I mean, we can't talk about the top lane.
The combo's not super great, but they do finish off the AD carry. That scan of the week is huge, but it's not big enough. Ultra Prime, they want to finish this in style. 26 minutes on the clock. 3 members down to the side of anyone's legend, and I think they're just going to finish this one off. They charge on through, looking for those Nexus towers. ZDZ not tanky enough. Neither Zora, who flashes away to get onto Fountain. Doggo chasing him down. And that will be game. That will be Ultra Prime taking their first game of the split.
Like a bit of a snap of the fingers there for Ultra Prime. Find one pick in the mid lane into Baron, into game end. And he feels pretty good to come back from what was starting to feel like maybe a bit of a suffocating loss, but you know, towards the end there, Pinzi ultimate plus the scowl was big. Gnar from Harry was bigger, and that's 2 games in a row where Harry has just had